stop. Put that gallon back in the fridge for 1 second because the big store brand milk test of 2026 is here, and the gap between Costco, Kroger, and Target is bigger than any of them will ever admit. I'd bet money one of these 3 cartons is sitting in your door shelf right now. So before you pour another glass, stay with me. That faint chemical aftertaste you've trained yourself to ignore, it's not your imagination. It's the first clue that what lands in your glass and slides down into your gut isn't the clean, honest milk the carton keeps promising you. That's the residue of hard processing, the stuff your liver quietly has to sort out, glass after glass, year after year. Your body knows the difference, it just can't say it out loud. And one of these 3 cartons belongs straight down the drain tonight. So here's my promise to you, and I keep my promises. At the very end of this list waits the 1 carton we'd actually pour on our own cereal. And it costs less than the name brands, not more. On top of that, before your next grocery run, I'll hand you a 60-second kitchen test you can run on your own milk tonight, with nothing but a clear glass and 20 minutes on the counter. 2 promises. Both pay off at the end. We're ranking the big 3 store labels, plus the famous names they beat, worst to best. So if you want to find your carton on this list, you have to stay to number 1, because the winner is dead last on purpose. First, one thing nobody at the dairy case ever explains to you. This country drinks roughly 45 million gallons of milk a day, enough to fill 68 Olympic pools before lunch. But before we crown Target's carton at number 3, real quick, if this milk test is opening your eyes, that's exactly the kind of digging we do here every single week. We're not sponsored by any of these labels, so we can actually tell you which one belongs down the drain. That only keeps going if you hit like and subscribe right now. It's a 2-second tap, and it's how we keep testing the stuff these giants would rather you never questioned. Anyway, back to the Champions League. Number 3 is on the table. Move all of that across long supply chains without it spoiling. Most of it gets ultra pasteurized, flash heated to 280 degrees. Sounds like safety, right? It's damage. Regular pasteurization warms milk gently and leaves it recognizable. This is a different animal. At that temperature, the proteins get scrambled, the living enzymes are cooked stone dead, and that faint cardboard taste you catch on the back of your tongue, that is the damage. It's also why some of these cartons can sit sealed for weeks. You're not buying fresh milk. You're buying milk engineered to survive a warehouse. Real milk should taste alive, bright, a little sweet, gone in a few days because nothing's holding it together but nature. Now the countdown. And we start at the very bottom with the hardest verdict of the whole list. Because the worst carton here isn't some anonymous budget jug. It's a green pasture organic name almost every parent in America trusts. This is the carton you grab because the word organic feels like a promise you can lean on. Horizon Organic, $6.49 for a half gallon. Look at the front of that box. Rolling hills, one contented cow, warm sunlight. Now look at the lab shelf. A 2024 Consumer Reports shelf analysis flagged Horizon for the widest freshness swing carton to carton, meaning 2 boxes off the same shelf, same sell-by date, can turn out worlds apart. One's fine on Thursday, the other's gone sour by Tuesday. And the parents in our community keep writing us the same thing. Opened it fresh on Monday, poured it out reeking by Wednesday. You paid top organic dollar for that coin flip, my read, based on the numbers sitting right in front of me. You're paying for the pasture picture, not the milk. And here's what gets me. $6.49 at the rock bottom of the list is bad enough. But Horizon isn't even the strangest bottle we tested. One rung up sits a milk that sells itself as ultra-filtered premium, $4.29. And when our testers actually drank it, it barely tasted like milk at all. Ultra filtered. That's the word Fairlife wants burned into your brain, printed right there above the $4.29. Sounds like an upgrade, doesn't it? Cleaner, purer, better. Flip that promise over, and here's what ultra filtered actually does to what's in your glass. They run the milk through fine membranes, strip it, rebuild it, and heat it so hard it comes out the far end sterile. No live enzymes left. No real dairy character. Just a smooth, faintly sweet liquid that behaves more like a lab product than something a cow made. Remember that 280-degree flash heat we talked about? The one that scrambles the proteins and leaves that cardboard aftertaste? Fairlife takes that idea and doubles down on it. Our testers drank it side by side with plain whole milk, and the word that kept coming up was sterile, Swedish, thin in a way milk shouldn't be. Milk wearing a gym bottle costume, sold to you like a protein shake. To my palate, based on the sample in front of us, this barely earns the word milk. Solid middle, at best, and only because of what's coming next. Because now, hold on tight. Forget everything you thought you knew about the cheap store carton. You'd assume the bargain gallon is where we go easy, right? The little guy, the honest deal, the one we defend. Not this time. Kroger's own gallon sits on the shelf at $3.49, and at first glance, it's the steal of the whole aisle. A full gallon for less than that fancy half bottle of Fairlife. Your hand reaches for it on autopilot. Flip that Kroger gallon over. Right there in the fine print is why it turns on you by the weekend. A clean label project screening flagged inconsistent sourcing across regional plants, meaning the milk in your carton in one state isn't the milk in the same carton 3 states over. Different farms, different handling, different age by the time it hits the cooler. You're not buying a product, you're buying a lottery ticket, and the plant nearest you decides whether you win. And the folks watching this already know. Scroll our comments under the last dairy check, and you'll see the same 3 words over and over from viewers who bought it. Sour by day 4. Not day 10, not the printed date. Day 4. You pour it Tuesday, and by Saturday morning, it's turned on your cereal. That thin, sour smell the second you crack the cap, the folks writing in aren't imagining it. That's the nearest plant showing up in your jug. This is the one, friends. Of every carton on this list, this is the one that belongs straight down the drain. Watch it glug into the stainless sink, because that's where a gallon of it ends up in half these kitchens anyway. And if regional plant roulette shocks you here, wait till you see what we found when we turned that same magnifying glass on the butter test. Same trick, worse offenders, and one name you absolutely trust. Links waiting for you right after this one. Look, this is exactly the fight we're in. Nobody on a payroll is going to flip these cartons over for you and tell you the plant 3 states away ships a different product. We do it because someone has to. If you want us to keep testing uncensored, hit that like button and subscribe so the algorithm spreads this truth across the country. That's it. That's the whole ask. Now back to the shelf. Because look what's left. We started this with the big names crashing, the pasture picture at $6.49, the ultra-filtered fake, and now the bargain gallon in the sink. The wreckage is real, and out of all of it, 3 cartons are still standing. 3 cartons survived. The Champions League of this test. And here's the part the name brands really don't want you to hear. The carton we'd actually pour on our own cereal, the one we'd carry to our own fridge, isn't the priciest of the 3. It's the cheapest one left standing. It's the cheapest one left standing. And I know how that sounds. So let's climb this podium and prove it. Cheapest verdict first, right up to the carton we'd carry into our own kitchen. Number 3, Target's Good and Gather, $3.19 a gallon. And honestly, after everything you just watched crash and burn, this one is a relief. Flip it over, no fine print games, no mystery blend, no regional plant roulette. Consistent carton to carton, the sourcing holds, and the taste on our tester's spoons came back clean and plain, nothing hiding on the back. For a store label at that price, that's rare. My verdict, safe to buy. Put it in the cart and don't lose sleep. Number 2, now a name brand finally shows up and earns its spot, a whole milk that actually tastes like whole milk. Rich, honest, the way your grandmother's glass tasted. On the palate, no complaints. But then you look at the shelf tag and it stings. Nearly double the store labels for the same gallon. You're getting real quality here. You're just bleeding for it every single week. Good in the glass, brutal at the register. And number 2 earned its spot, but number 1 is about to embarrass every expensive carton on this list. Here it is. The twist. Costco's Kirkland Signature Organic. $2.99 equivalent for a gallon. Read that price again because it does something nobody higher up on this list managed. Cleaner sourcing traced back to fewer, tighter herds. Gentler processing, not blasted to 280 degrees and cooked into that cardboard aftertaste, but handled soft enough that the milk still tastes like milk. Our testers wrote one word next to it. Real. Actually real. Now do the math that should make you angry. Down at the very bottom of this whole test sat Horizon Organic, $6.49 for a half gallon, sold to you on a pretty pasture picture. Kirkland's organic gallon costs less than half of that, and it's cleaner in the sourcing and better in the glass. The most expensive organic name on the shelf lost to the cheapest carton in the building. So, the promise I made you at the very start. The single carton we'd actually pour on our own cereal, cheaper than every name brand above it, that's this one. $2.99 if you buy your milk at Costco, that's the door shelf you reach for from now on. And if you're standing in a Kroger aisle, you already saw where that gallon belongs, straight down the drain. Now the part I've been holding all the way to the end, the 60-second kitchen test. As promised at the start, and it costs you nothing but a clean glass. Tonight, when you get home, take whatever milk is in your fridge right now. Pour 2 ounces into a clear drinking glass, just a splash. Set it on the counter. Leave it there 20 minutes, that's it, and walk away. Then come back and look at it in the light. Good milk stays whole. One solid color, top to bottom, the way it left the carton, but the over-processed stuff, the ultra-filtered, flash-cooked, spreadsheet-optimized dairy, it gives itself away. It separates. You'll see a thin, watery ring settle at the very bottom of the glass, clear and sad. The water, the scrambled proteins can't hold anymore. That ring is the damage, sitting right there in your kitchen where you can finally see it. Try this tonight. Drop your result in the comments. I'll check your brands myself. Remember this the next time a low sticker price talks you into a carton. There's no such thing as cheap milk. You pay at the register, or you pay with what's really in your glass. One or the other, always. So tell me, which store milk is in your fridge, and are you switching after this? Put the brand in the comments. I read them. And do one thing for me. Send this to the friend who still grabs the expensive organic name on autopilot, the one paying $6.50 for a freshness gamble. They deserve to see that glass too. Next check, we're going after the butter your whole family melts on toast every single morning. And trust me, that one gets ugly fast. Stay sharp, stay healthy. See you at the next check.